The Galactic Archive was older than most civilizations, older than empires, older than wars, older than memory itself. It floated in the empty dark between galaxies, a structure so vast that stars appeared as tiny reflections across its silver surface. Every intelligent species eventually came there, not by invitation, by necessity. Because eventually every civilization reached the same question: what happens when we know everything? For millions of years, the archive had served one purpose: to preserve knowledge, every discovery. Every language, every art form, every scientific achievement, cataloged, stored, protected forever. Civilizations rose, civilizations fell, but the archive remained, immortal, watching, recording, remembering, and eventually every species joined it, every species except one. Humans, Archivist Prime Talon, watched the newest report scroll across his display. The numbers made no sense. He checked them again. Still impossible. A third time. Nothing changed. He turned toward his assistants. "Is this accurate?" The room fell silent. Finally, one of them answered. "Yes, Archivist." Talon's 4 eyes narrowed. "They rejected us again?" "Yes." "The entire proposal?" "Yes." Talon stood. That had never happened before. Not once, not in 13 million years. Every civilization eventually accepted archive membership. It was the natural endpoint of intelligence, the moment when a species moved beyond conflict and survival, the moment when knowledge became more important than ambition, the moment they joined eternity. Yet humanity kept refusing. For 200 years. At first, the archive had been patient. Humans were young, emotional, unpredictable. Those traits usually faded with time. Sooner or later, every species matured. Sooner or later, they realized exploration had limits, discovery had limits, innovation had limits. The universe itself had limits, and once those limits were reached, all that remained was preservation. Humans disagreed, violently. Every time the archive offered membership, humanity declined every time. The official response never changed. It consisted of a single sentence: "We're not finished yet." The archive could not understand it. Humans already possessed faster-than-light travel, matter synthesis, quantum engineering, stellar manipulation. They had solved disease, solved scarcity, solved aging. What remained? What possible frontier still existed? Talon finally received permission to investigate personally. 3 months later, his vessel arrived in the Sol system. What he found disturbed him. Because humanity wasn't slowing down. It was accelerating. Mars had become a living world. Europa contained underwater cities. Titans housed atmospheric research stations. Thousands of habitats orbited the sun. Millions of ships crossed the system daily. Humanity seemed obsessed with expansion, obsessed with building, obsessed with creating. Talon expected efficiency. Instead, he found chaos, beautiful chaos. A scientist on Luna was attempting to grow forests in vacuum. A corporation near Neptune was constructing artificial planets. Artists were sculpting music from pulsars. Engineers were designing living spacecraft. Children were inventing technologies that older civilizations considered impossible. None of it made sense. Most projects would fail. Many already had. Yet humans continued, endlessly. Eventually, Talon secured an audience with a human representative, a woman named Elena Reyes. She greeted him with a smile. Humans smiled constantly. Another strange habit. "You came all the way from the archive?" Talon nodded. "Your species continues refusing membership." Elena laughed. "We know. You possess everything." "No. You possess more knowledge than most civilizations acquire in their entire existence." "Still no." Talon frowned. "What are you missing?" Elena leaned back, then she pointed toward the stars. "We don't know." Talon stared. "What does that mean?" "It means there are questions we haven't asked yet." The archivist blinked. "Questions must have answers. Maybe, then why continue searching?" Elena smiled. "Because maybe they don't." The answer bothered him for months. When he returned to the archive, he filed a report. Most archivists dismissed it. Humans were irrational, nothing more. Eventually, they would settle. Eventually, they would join, eventually. Then humanity discovered something impossible. A signal. It arrived from beyond the observable universe. That alone should have been impossible. Information could not travel faster than light, not across such distances, not through expanding space-time, not from beyond the cosmic horizon. Yet the signal existed. Clear, precise. Real, the archive studied it. Nothing the greatest minds in known existence failed to decode it. Humans solved it in 11 days. Talon still remembered the emergency session. Every archive representative gathered, every species, every civilization, every immortal scholar, watching, waiting. A human scientist appeared on screen. She looked exhausted, excited, terrified. We translated the signal. The chamber erupted. Questions flooded the network, demons, challenges, skepticism. The scientist raised a hand, silence followed, then she spoke. It isn't a message. Confusion spread. What is it then? The scientist swallowed. It's a map. The chamber froze. A map to where? Her answer changed galactic history forever. Outside. Outside the universe. For the first time in 13 million years, the archive experienced fear, because the archive had always believed it contained everything, every answer, every discovery, every possibility. Yet suddenly there existed a frontier beyond existence itself, and humans wanted to go there. Immediately, the archive advised caution. Study the data, analyze the risks, prepare for centuries if necessary. Humanity launched an expedition 6 months later. Of course they did. The mission consisted of a single vessel, the Horizon, a ship larger than cities, powered by technologies the archive barely understood. Built specifically to travel where reality ended. The entire galaxy watched its departure. Talon watched too, as the vessel vanished beyond measurable space, and disappeared for 12 years. No signals. No contact. Nothing. Most civilizations assumed failure. The archive quietly prepared memorial records. Then the Horizon returned. And everything changed. The ship emerged above Earth, damaged, scared. Ancient, its crew had departed 12 years earlier, yet scans suggested the vessel was over 9,000 years old. Impossible. When investigators boarded, they found living crew members. Older, wiser. Still alive. Humanity demanded answers. The galaxy demanded answers. Even the archive demanded answers. Captain Marcus Hale finally addressed them. His face carried centuries of experience. His eyes carried something else. Wonder. We made it. The room fell silent. We crossed the edge. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. We found another universe. Shock spread through every network simultaneously. Then Hale smiled. And another. More silence. And another. The captain looked toward the stars. The multiverse is real. Civilizations spent centuries absorbing that revelation. The archive suffered an existential crisis. Its name no longer made sense. How could you archive everything when reality itself was infinite? How could knowledge be complete? How could discovery ever end? The foundation of their philosophy collapsed overnight, but humanity wasn't finished, because during those 9,000 years, they had learned something even stranger. The universes weren't empty. Someone had built pathways between them, ancient pathways, older than time, older than physics, older than existence. Someone had created the multiverse infrastructure itself, and nobody knew who. The mystery reignited humanity instantly. Millions volunteered for exploration. Billions supported the effort. New fleets launched, new expeditions formed, new frontiers appeared. While older civilizations struggled to adapt, many species had spent millennia preserving knowledge. Humanity spent 1 week planning the next adventure. The contrast became impossible to ignore. For the first time, younger civilizations began copying humanity instead of the archive. Exploration surged. Innovation surged. Discovery surged. Entire cultures rediscovered curiosity, the galaxy transformed, and the archive began shrinking, not physically, philosophically. Membership applications stopped arriving. Species that once sought preservation now sought possibility. Some archivists called humanity dangerous, others called them reckless, a few called them foolish. Talon disagreed because he remembered something, a conversation from centuries earlier. "We're not finished yet." At the time, he had considered it arrogance. Now he understood. Humans never expected completion. Completion wasn't the goal. Discovery was. The pursuit itself mattered. The journey mattered. The questions mattered. Not the answers, especially not the answers. Because every answer created new questions, and every question opened new doors. Humanity understood something older civilizations had forgotten. Knowledge was not a destination. Knowledge was an endless horizon, and horizons only existed because you never reached them. Thousands of years later, Talon stood upon a balcony overlooking the new Galactic Exploration Center. The building dwarfed planets. Ships arrived continuously, leaving for realities beyond realities, dimensions beyond dimensions, unknowns beyond imagination. At its center stood a statue, not of a warrior, not of a scientist, not of a ruler. A child, a human child, looking upward at the stars. The plaque beneath contained a single sentence. Talon read it every visit. The words that had changed the fate of countless civilizations. The words that had shattered stagnation. The words that had reopened the future. The words humanity had spoken from the beginning. "We're not finished yet." And perhaps they never would be. For the first time in his immortal life, archivist Prime Talon found comfort in that thought, because somewhere beyond the edge of existence, beyond infinite universes and impossible mysteries, humanity was still asking questions, still exploring, still discovering, still refusing to stop. And as long as humans existed, the future would never become a museum. It would remain an adventure.